Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of NC-17. My name is Josh, and today with us we have an extraordinary director who has made, in my opinion, a future icon in a horror industry. We got Mr. William R. INSTONE. How are you doing today?
Thank you, man. I appreciate you saying that.
Oh, yeah, it's the truth in my opinion.
I hope so. That was the point.
Oh yeah,
When we were coming up with the Hogman, I thought, one of the reasons that people weren't getting their indie horror movies weren't really getting noticed at the time is because it did lack iconic characters. What made 80s movies so cool? You had Jason, you had Michael, you had Freddy. They're icons. And you needed that's what was missing. And then obviously before I got out, Art the Clown hit the scene, and I was like, okay, that guy's got it. They made an icon, and look at the success.
oh yeah. Uh, so before we really get into the movies, kind of take us back a little bit to your younger years. You can start with whatever age you want. What was like a driving force for you wanting to get into movies? What inspirations did you draw from?
Well, I'll go further back than the moment that I decided to go into movies. I was infatuated with films my whole life. I actually am a little on the older side. See the grays.
Right there with you.
uh, uh, Saw Nightmare on Elm Street in the movie theaters with Babysitter in 1984. And let me just put it this way: I wasn't even 10 years old. So, so uh, she took me to see that, and it scared the shit out of me.
Oh yeah.
We able to talk freely here?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I start dropping f bombs, and people are like, "Hey, wait a minute." It's like, okay, just making sure.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so yeah, it scared the shit out of me, dude. But I loved it for some reason. I was just like, man, and it didn't really make a lot of sense. I can still remember not understanding how Freddy's voice came out of the girl in the hallway, no running in the hallway. And then that was weird to me. I was like, whoa, you know, was that Freddy? So I remember that, I didn't understand it because I was young, but um, and then part two came out. I think like a year later, maybe a year and a half later, and I saw that too. That one was really weird. I never got the homoeroticism because I was a kid. Um, and I don't care. I love it. And part two is fantastic. I think it's a great sequel.
Oh yeah.
And so anyway, Freddie got me from the beginning. And I also remember being at that young age seeing The Exorcist on TV. And of course, I didn't understand really what was going on there either. Only that girl was so terrifying, and I didn't know what was happening to her. But when her head twisted around, I was like, oh my God. So I've always just kind of been fascinated with that. And then we go into music, which is where my first love came from. Was I love theatrical looking music. MTV came out in the 80s, and we had it right away. And um, Shout Out the Devil, Motley Crue, the way they looked was cool. I loved the way Twisted Sister looked. Quiet Riot, he wore the Jason looking mask, the psycho mask and everything.
Oh
Of
yeah.
course, even further back, Kiss. I got a picture of me as a little kid, being maybe 3 or 4 years old, with the Kiss makeup on. So, it's heavy metal and horror has been in my life since I can remember,
Oh
and
yeah.
then growing up in the 80s again, music was a big thing for me. It was big for everybody back then. So of course the guitar came into my life, and I decided I'm going to be in a heavy metal band. So I'm going to be a rock star, and I chased that dream for a long time. I came to Austin. I'm from Texas, and I lived right outside of Austin most of me my whole life. And I was in bands while I was a teenager, early 20s. That nothing really worked out. The grunge scene came along, kind of killed heavy metal for a while, and I went to the grunge bands reluctantly, not looking like a grunge player. I mean, all of our band photos I have is the gothic guy in the grunge band, so it was kind of stood out. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I don't fit in this style of music, but this is what I was willing to do, whatever it took to, you know, get what was popular, ride that train.
Oh yeah.
So I came to Austin and tried to get in different bands, different styles. I wrote my own songs, and I was wanting to bring my own songs in. And people were like, these are dark. They're a little gloomy. You're just you're too edgy and weird for what we're wanting to do. And which is funny because now you've got bands like Ghost that are huge. They were doing shit like I was doing. Not that my music sounds like Ghost, but they're like, oh, I don't want to do that Marilyn Manson type of shit. Well, I like that kind of stuff. I love Rob Zombie. That those are things I like. So anyway, long story short, which is not, I'm already past that point. uh, uh, I always liked movies. I'm gonna flat back to the '90s. I had this idea. This guy taught me how to write scripts. I told him one time, worked at a video store. There was these fabulous places back in the day, kids, where you could walk in on the weekend, and it was filled with movies that you'd never heard of. And you'd see the cases, and you'd take them home every weekend, 5 or 6 movies, and that's how you spent your weekends watching movies. But anyway, I was obsessed with those things, horror movies specifically. And a guy at this video store knew how to write scripts. He actually was a reader. He would read scripts for a company, and he would rate them. I think those people still exist. And if you got 3 stars or above, you would move on and so forth until it got to the studios. And he was talking to me, and I said, "Oh, that'd be cool." He let me read this script, and I said, "Oh, that was badass." And basically, he was like, "Hey, yeah, this is what this means, and this is what this means, this is what this means." So when I found out how to format a script, I mean, I spent maybe 2 weeks and wrote my first script, and it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible, but I thought it was cool. I was like, "Oh, wow," I mean, I'm about 18 years old at this time. It's like, shit, I can write scripts. I mean, I maybe I should try to go to film school. So I did a lot of research about going to film school. Um, and I got this crash course from this guy. It was a bunch of cassette tapes. Yeah, kids, there was this thing. There was about this big, and they had tape in them, and you had to push rewind and fast forward, and you had to wait. It was fabulous. I love cassettes.
I still got some.
Yeah. So yeah, it was like 15 hours of cassette tapes in a workshop. This guy, this filmmaker did from LA did, and I guess he was from a film school. It's like the first like middle order film school thing that was going around, and it broke me because basically the guy was telling us back then there's this thing called film. I'm fucking with you guys, man. I'm not. I'm deliberately talking like this shit to fuck with you guys. Sorry,
No,
if
you're
I'm
good. You're
offending
good.
you, if I'm offending you kids, uh, I'm making fun of more of myself for being old. Uh, yeah. So they used to have to shoot on film, and he was talking about, oh, well, you'd have to get these things called back ends, and that's what film when they you'd use a container. And if a movie didn't use all the film in the container, they would cut that off, and then they would put that back in the container and send it back to the film house. And then they would sell those film uh, cans at a fraction of the cost because it wasn't a full can. Um, so I'm hearing all this stuff. They're talking about renting gear and like, oh, you an independent film, you can say it's under $1 million or it's under $5 million. I'm like, I'm a poor kid from Marble Falls, Texas. Where the hell am I going to get that kind of money? So at that point, I basically lost all hope that I would ever be able to make a movie, and I went full time into music. Then we go full circle. I'm back in Austin. I'm in my 20s, and bands aren't working out, and technology had caught up. And I read Robert Rodriguez's book, Rebel Without a Crew. Um, am I still there, bro? My computer just did something.
Yep, you're still here.
Just making sure that this computer has viruses and stuff. Anyway, I read Rebel Without a Crew, and went over what Robert did to make his movie. And he shot El Mariachi on film, but he edited on video, which I thought was really cool because I used to do that back in the day. I had this RCA camera recorder, it was about this big, and you put a full VHS tape in it. And then you used to be able to record from one VHS deck to the other VHS deck, and you could record and cut. You could make your cuts with the pause button. And Robert did that when he was a kid too. I guess all of us '80s kids did that. So I thought that was cool. Yeah. Yeah, I remember when we record shit off TV, we hit pause and we cut off the commercials with the pause button. It was awesome. We'd be on MTV and I'd be recording my best videos to make my compilation thing when I pause out all the commercials. But anyway, yeah. So as I got into Robert's book and I met him in person, he's an Austinite. I'm an Austinite. So meeting Robert was really cool, and I said, okay, I can do this. And then a friend of mine who's no longer here, uh, he once said, "Hey, I want to make a movie. We can do it. You can write it. And we can make it on video cameras, and let's just make a cheesy horror movie." I'm like, okay, cool. But I found pretty quickly I wasn't able to write anything too cheesy, but I was able to write something that I felt could be made for relatively cheap. And he ended up not being a part of it. His life, he was married, had kids, so but I had this script, and I'm like, I'm going to do this. And I made my first feature film before I ever made a short film or anything. The first thing I ever did was a feature film, and I made it for $4,000, and it
Dang.
took me over a year to make it. And it's I screwed up. I didn't get release forms. I shot it guerrilla style, so I mean I could never release it. But I did film festivals with it, and I did print some DVDs. So it's probably floating around out there. It's not good. It's not horrible, but it's not good. I mean, I look at it like, ugh. I was like, but if people take into consideration, it was the first thing I ever did. I didn't know anything, and I edited it myself. Um, so I acted it, and I did. I mean, I did everything. Uh, I had a good composer that but so I had a professional musician doing the music, and so it was decent, and it did pretty well at film festivals, and but after that, I was hooked. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go ahead and give up on music for a while, and I'm just gonna pursue this. I think I'm pretty good at it, even if my film wasn't that great, I had a knack for it,
Oh yeah.
and so I made short films for a while because I couldn't get a budget. And as I got better at my craft, it got harder for me to make films for $4,000. And hence Butcher's Bluff took me from 2017 when we wrote the script to 2024 to get released. So it took a
Oh,
long time, and we filmed it. We actually took 2 years of filming, actual filming. Um, So one of the things that happened there, if we're going to go into that now, Butcher's Bluff began as that idea of wanting to make a slasher film because I had a really badass zombie film that I wrote. Um, my brother died in 2014, and I didn't want to face like what was going on that did. So the day he died, I fucking just sat. I didn't want to think about it. I wrote an outline for this zombie film. It was real, just not gory, but like also tragic. And it was very Walking Dead stylish, I'll admit, but it had its own originality to it. And I was thinking, okay, let's do The Walking Dead in Texas. And sure as shit, Fear the Walking Dead came out and said it in Texas. So go figure. So, and pretty much every idea that I had in the script, either The Walking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead used it in some way. It was so close that I ended up shelving. I'm like, you know what? I can't compete with them. And every zombie trope has been done. Fine. I did a 30-minute film called Among the Dead, and we won about 30 to 40 film festivals. It was it was about 30 minutes long. And that's where I really crafted my art and learned how to really shoot. And I did a lot of the effects on there, acted in it, did all the editing. Um, and that's where I built my confidence up that okay, I think I can do this. And so after I had to shelf Among the Dead, that was the slasher. That was next, the slasher. I always wanted to do a slasher. Jason's my favorite. Jason's the best killer of all time, in my opinion. Uh, so,
there's a good argument there.
yeah, in my opinion, he wipes the floor with Michael. Sorry, Michael's darker. Michael might be a little cooler, but Jason, hand to hand, he's the king of killers. Uh,
He actually has the most kill count on
yeah,
any horror movie filmed.
yep, exactly. And if you count how many people were on the spaceship in Jason X that they didn't show, and how many people were on that boat that sunk, and in Jason Takes Manhattan, he's killed a lot more than's actually been on screen too.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So again, King of the Killers. But I wanted to do a non-supernatural killer because one thing I liked about Leatherface is Leatherface is not superhuman. He's a man. You can hurt him. You can kill him. So I liked that idea. So that's where I was talking with a co-writer. His name is Renfield Rasputin, and we had wrote a Western together that was kind of like a script that was like kind of like the Punisher set in the Wild West, Civil War era, and it's actually based off of a real guy. And we did really well with that script in festivals. And so I was like, okay, well, how about we let's do a let's do a slasher. You can help me with this. And I had this idea, and so okay. So me and him sat on the phone for shit, probably 3 or 4 months, going back and forth on what should this be, what should this be, and then we'd write something like, oh, that didn't work, or oh yeah, that's working. And then finally, we had the idea kind of flushed out of what the Hogman was, but we just really couldn't figure out what the story was going to be. And I had this old script called Butcher's Bluff, and it already had the pacing and it already had all the characters, but the Hogman didn't exist in it. And some of the scenes and some of the kills, and a lot of it's different, but a lot of it's the same. Like the sheriff was all the same. The character Jed was about 75% the same. Uh, and then again, like there's scenes where the mushrooms, that was all in the original script. You know, the ending confrontation, it's all in the original script. But it was not realized. It was a first draft. So what we did is we took that old 2014 script and just completely did a full makeover. And we added characters, took characters out, obviously inserted the Hogman, gave him his story, the backstory about being a kid, all that's new.
Oh yeah.
That was all stuff we were working on in the initial. Because we were initially not going to have it be a flashback. We were going to start with him being a kid and then working his way up into becoming what he is. But I thought that was cooler to just show it in a flashback. Let's not feed it to him right away. Let's make him wait and want to know who this guy and why he is what he is.
Oh yeah.
And so first and foremost, it's still about story. I know I wanted to make it gory. I wanted to do all practical effects. I wanted to honor the slasher, but I also wanted to give it a good story. So fans of films that aren't slasher films may still enjoy it. And we did 5 screenings, test screenings, and I sold every one of them out around the Austin and area in the surrounding cities. And we always did Q&As afterwards, and we did meet and greets and things like that. And I would, every single one without fail, at least 2 or 3 people would come and say, I don't even like horror movies. I came because I'm friends with this person, but I really enjoyed this. It had a good story. And that's when I knew that I might be onto something.
Oh yeah.
Because non-horror fans enjoy it because there is a story. And there is that we do touch on bullying, and maybe you shouldn't fuck with the fat kid because he may come back and kill your ass. So
Exactly. Yeah, it's I will say I've watched it multiple times, and I've seen different versions. You and I know what I'm talking about. But the one that sticks out the most, I'll just say, is the good unedited one that I've seen.
I hate the edited version. The edited versions doesn't really grasp the story like it's supposed to, even though they didn't really cut story parts out. Just taking those little pieces of the kills out of it just takes away from the overall experience. And I don't know why my film was picked to be fucked with when there's so many gory movies on Tubi and Amazon, and yet they decided, nope, we're going to say, nope, you're not allowed. You were not selected to be on here unless you cut some of this down. So I had to cut out all my boobs. So there's no boobs at all in the edited version, unfortunately. You get the unedited version. We open up with a pair of boobs, which is great. They cut out my whole opening credits, which was something that everybody loved because I killed 16 people in the opening credits brutally. Because that's one thing I wanted to do. I wanted to say, I want to grab them right from the beginning and show that this guy's just slaughtering people. If you come in his woods, you're going to die. And let's show them all practical effects right in the beginning. And people love that. And they made me cut that out. And it was just like, what the hell's wrong with you people? Why are you doing this to me? So I was very, very upset that they did that. So unfortunately, if you're watching this, the Tubi and the Amazon version, it is edited. Any version that you find on the internet that's under 2 hours is edited. And then we go to the 2 hour runtime. If you look up reviews, I'm getting slaughtered by the reviewers. I got haters like you wouldn't believe. Reviewers hate that it's 2 hours long. And I'm just like, that's really one of your biggest complaints is that it's 2 hours long? Really? I mean, this most movies are 2 hours long. I'm giving you more for your money. Come on.
Oh yeah.
So one of the biggest complaints is the runtime, which I don't think it's not paced correctly. I don't. I mean, that thing is, I did test screenings and no one said it was too long. They all enjoyed it. So during my test screenings, people, if they thought it was too long, they should have told me that. Nobody ever said that it was too
Oh yeah.
long.
So
Can't
I
say
rate I rate my movies 1 to 10, one being worst, 10 being best.
right.
That's just the way I go. And my number one complaint on why most movies don't hit a 10 is because it's not long enough.
Okay.
You know, so like I'll see an hour and 45 minutes, and I'm like, I still want that little bit more. So when we first originally talked, you said find the 2 hour one or the one that's over 2 hours. I was like, all right, cool, I'll do that. And when I did, it's a 10, my friend. In my
Yeah.
opinion, it's a 10.
Thank you.
You have definitely grasped the attention of a lot of people here in Michigan, just people that I know, because we've had watch parties at my house of your movie. And everyone has walked out and said, we want more. I was like, well, I'll talk to them. I'll see if there's going to be more, but still.
Obviously, when you watched it, there's an opening.
Oh yeah.
I added that in. That scene wasn't in the original script at all.
Okay.
Even the rewrite, the 2017 that me and Renfield wrote, we had a definitive ending. It was still could have been open, but we didn't have that police station scene. I added that in because towards the end of the movie, I was like, look, man, fuck this. We have to open it up.
Oh yeah.
We got to do a sequel to this. So we added that in. For one, I wanted to give it a little bit more time to Paul Taylor because I think he's a fantastic actor. That's him right there. Just see my finger, right? He's the sheriff. He was Pinhead in Hellraiser Judgment. He's a fantastic actor. So it was an excuse to give him a few more lines, a little more screen time, and two, it opened up a sequel. Which then again, it's about 5 minute scene, maybe a little bit longer, and I knew that was going to take me over the 2 hour mark. So I had to really think about, do I really want to do this or not? And in the end, I felt like I needed to, just because I really think we needed to open it up for a sequel. And so, and then in the end, I have no regrets doing it.
Oh yeah.
Definitely will be a sequel.
Oh yeah. So when you were coming up with the idea of this character, and when the story was coming together, getting your cast, trust me, I just made my first movie this year. Getting your cast is a key essential point of any film.
Mm-hmm.
But the way, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but for the way the first 7 minutes happens, and you have Mr. London there, I'm like, okay, it's open game, it's open season, because you just never know what's going to happen. And I think the way you did that, and with just the first 7 minutes alone, was a nail biter. But whenever someone says they got to go to the restroom, some shit's about to go down. But I will say that that to me was like an orchestra being played out, because you hit every note within the first 7 minutes that a horror movie should have, that some horror movies don't never hit.
Thank you. That was kind of the point. We wanted to have that prologue, that was going to get you before, or the cold opening, I guess they call it now. And that was funny because that scene was actually a 48-hour film that we did. A script I wrote for a 48-hour film years before, and of course it didn't have the Hogman in it, and it was slightly different, but that's where the idea came from. And we just rewrote it. And what's kind of funny is I gave Renfield an outline. I said, "This is going to happen. These are the guys here. They're in the car. They say this. They kind of say this. And I gave him that at like noon, and by the end of the day, he had sent me half of that 7 minutes already written out. I was like, dude, you're hitting all the shit exactly the way I was like, there's a few things I got to change because I wanted to say this and this, but you're getting it. And that's when I kind of knew we were on the same page, because I would a lot of times I would just write out, this is what happens, and then he'd go format it and and I'd be like, okay, shit, that's it, and then I would just go back in and make a few tweaks, and there's the scene.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know Jeremy was going to be that character.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Jeremy came later. He was one of the last people I cast, and honestly, I think I got lucky because we got him during COVID.
Oh yeah.
I filmed this film. We shot this during 2020, during the whole shutdown,
Oh yeah.
and a lot of people were just hungry to work at that point. Just they were bored. Like, hey, man, I'm ready to work. Let's do something.
Oh yeah.
So I just reached out and asked.
Yeah.
He's like, "Would
It's
you be interested?" He's like, "Let me read it," and he came back and says, "Oh yeah, that'll be fun." So let's do it.
oh yeah. Uh, so when you take characters, do you specifically like? I know you wrote it and everything like that, but when you're casting these characters, are you specifically looking for a specific type, or just
Yes,
whoever really gets the part gets the character down better?
it's yes on both. Initially, I kind of have an idea what I want the characters to look like. Now, the Roger character was supposed to be fat, so he's a case where he just had something to him. And Michael Fisher came and did the proof of concept trailer for us. We made a fake trailer for this, like Robert Rodriguez. Again, Robert's a big influence. So when we were trying to raise the money, we spent about $600-700 and made a like 3.5 4 minute fake trailer for the film. And I was playing it around. People were like, "Oh my god, this looks fantastic! Where can I see this?" I was like, "You can't. It doesn't exist." I was like, "Help us make it." So we were raising money, and that actually worked because we ended up raising about $80,000 to make it. So Michael came out. I said, "Hey, come do this part. I'll find you a part in the movie somewhere." Because in this fake trailer, um, one or two actors were playing multiple characters. I give them lines that multiple characters say in the actual film. I had them just say it in the trailer because nobody knows. And he just really did a good job at delivering those lines. And at that point, I'm like, yeah, I don't really see anybody else being that character now. So I say, congratulations, dude, you're in. You were only supposed to do this as a favor, just to do something to help us out. And then he got the part. And the same went with Paige Stakely, um, who plays Nicole, our final girl. She was only supposed to do the trailer as well,
Yeah.
uh, because I originally had the Nicole character kind of being a little more not as final girl ish, where as wholesome, I should
Oh
say,
yeah.
and Mama Bear. And I changed the character to be that way when I decided to cast her in that part, because she did play it really well, and she is that person in real life.
Oh yeah.
She is the wholesome, Mama Bear type of character. So in real life, so it wasn't too much far fetched on her character. So I just went ahead and said, okay, I'm going to make this character more like you. So so I changed things. Now we go to the Bobby character, Dakota. There was no one else. He came in. He's got a funny story. He's my favorite character in the whole movie. One of my biggest regrets is Bobby's fate. Um, so if in hindsight I would have gone back and changed the ending. So anyway, he is a set designer, head of art departments in films. He's not even really an actor. It wasn't even going to come out, but he came out to the open auditions that we had, and he did the character. He said, he went in there and he just did the role. And it's like, oh my god, dude, this. And he and Michael, I'd already cast Michael. I was like, shit, y'all look related, and they're supposed to be cousins. And that's like, y'all actually look like you could really be related. You could be brothers. And Michael was there, and I told him, hey, go stand next to him. And we got a photo. I was like, Jesus Christ, they look like clones. They're the same height. They got the hair. They got the face hair, same color eyes, everything. But Jesus Christ, I was like, this is the guy.
Oh yeah.
By the time he left the room, um, I was like, that's him. I was like, dude, I can't let him leave. And I went out, I caught him out, I got him out the parking lot. I chased him out to the parking lot, pulled him back in. I was like, do you want the job?
Yeah.
I don't even need to see anybody else. You're it. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe that. I'm glad I skipped. He skipped out on work. He said he told them he was on a set, and he said he told him he was going to get some nails because they were and he came over to the audition,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, he killed it. I mean, again, there was no one else. As soon as he opened his mouth, I knew it was him. He was
Oh
that
yeah.
good.
So you're up for some NC-17 awards.
I appreciate that.
Uh, but those nominations are not done. Like
Cool.
there are some other people that are going to be nominated for this film. There's one very particular scene I can't ruin, but it will be up for an award. But I'm pretty sure you
The, the
think of
the
the
grand the grand opus scene, correct?
yes.
We all know what it is. Everyone who sees it, like, that's my favorite part. Like, yeah, I know. When
uh,
I filmed it, I knew.
but I truly believe that you have created, in my opinion, the next Jason Voorhees.
I hope so, man. The again, I think the critics are being pretty brutal on me, and I think it could be steering people away from watching the film. And then I have the edited version being the version that people are seeing on Tubi and Amazon, so I think that could actually be hurting me as well. But hopefully, the word will get out that you can watch it for free on Roku. Hey, the unedited version is on Roku TV, so there's no excuse. It is free. It's also on Crank. I think it's called Cranked Up TV or something like that.
Yep.
And that's a free site, and it's unedited on there as well. So there's places you can watch it. You don't have to watch it on Tubi, but most people are just scrolling through Tubi. Like, oh, that's a cool looking poster, and they click on it, and then they might say, "Oh, this isn't very gory," and then they turn it on. So I don't know, but I do appreciate you saying that. I do hope that people will give it a chance, and it will get the love and shit that I'd hoped that it would get when I was creating it.
No. Yeah. So what was the biggest takeaway from this film that you actually was like that made you feel like, damn, we did it, and there's nothing that's going to change it. We did it.
The first screening.
The first
Um,
screening.
in Texas, there's a place called Alamo Draft House.
Yep.
I don't know if they have them in other states, um, but it's basically a place where people eat and they drink beer, and it's just a really cool place. And we screened our first screening at the Alamo Draft House, and I sold out. I believe it's 200 seats. I sold that out in about 25, 30 minutes.
Dang.
So it completely sold out within 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And when I screened it for the first time, people laughed where they were supposed to laugh. They cringed where they were supposed to cringe. And at the very end, I got a standing ovation. That's what I knew. That's what I knew something. It was okay. It was there. It did what I was supposed to. And the part that you talked about, the opus, everybody gives like, no. They're either no or like, yeah. It's one of those two. So, and that's what I wanted, because you're either going to love him or you're going to hate him. So he was supposed to be my Shelley character. For those that don't know, Shelley's loved or hated in Friday the 13th Part 3. I love Shelley. So I think Shelley's one of my favorite characters in the Friday the 13th franchise.
Got a good argument there too.
He's great. Him and Crispin Glover, man, in Part 4, the dance. Like, Dad. So yeah. So anyway, that's that. To answer your question, that was the moment I really felt like everything that we did was worth it. Because, like I told you, it took me 2 years because we felt, again, COVID slowed us down. Then Texas had this horrible freeze that killed all the trees. So I couldn't film again until the trees got some green back. Thankfully, consistently the trees were kind of dead looking in the woods that we filmed at. And that's like that all year long. So it didn't have to be too green, but I couldn't be completely dead either.
Oh, yeah.
And then working around actor schedules. Johnny Hong, he ended up getting COVID. Uh, he plays the Derek character, and give him credit. He's running through the woods like a week and a half after being out of the hospital with pneumonia and COVID. So he finished his scenes up, barely able to breathe, and he did it.
Oh yeah.
Uh, you know, I think Paige had a movie she was doing, so we had to have her wrapped by a certain time. This is the last day I can give you, so we had to film all of her stuff in one day because she was moving on to another film.
Oh yeah.
The character that played Jake, Santiago Sky, shaved his head, the sides of his head at one point, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't remember what it was for. Maybe it might have been a movie or something." He's like, It was during the freeze, and he's like, "Oh, William, my hair grows back quick." He's like, it'll be back to normal by the time we're filming with me again." I'm like, "Okay." And so I was on fucking pins and needles, like, please, please let it grow back. And it grew back, and so thankfully, I can tell it's a little bit shorter. And a keen eye might be able to say his hair's a little bit shorter there, but if they're not looking, you won't.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
there's just so many things as you get making a film, you'll realize, that sometimes, at least in my case, you don't get it all the first time around, so you have to go back and do a lot of inserts. And I can tell you that, again, we'll go back to the big scene. That shot over 4 different shoot days, 6 to 8 months apart from each other. We shot that twice.
Dang.
And the scenes with Jeremy London were shot about 6 months apart from each other. You
Dang.
can't tell.
Yeah.
A lot of that has to do with just getting your lighting right and matching the lighting.
Oh yeah.
And second is just your color grade, being able to color it. And the one thing that saved us a lot is when we had to do scenes like that, they were outside, usually at night, and that's a little bit easier to mask that with your color grade, especially since I'm using the blue tint, which helps. And I wanted to give that old classic Halloween Fright Night blue tint thing going in at night, which I thought a lot of movies quit doing. Like, my daughter's young; she's 27, so not too young, but still younger generation. And she's like, "That blue looks stupid." Fake. I'm just like, "What? That's how nighttime used to look."
Oh yeah.
I love it.
So what does the future hold for you? And do you want the Hogman to be more than just 2 movies? Do you see a franchise, or just what's in
Well,
store?
yeah. Well, okay. First, I'll answer the Hogman question, then I'll go into what's next and what I'm doing now. I think he can do three movies. After that, you're done. I think any character pretty much wears out their welcome with that, at least for a while. Um, by the third movie, you kind of got to kill them off and then bring them back as a zombie if you're going to bring them back. Then you give them supernatural skills, and then it opens up a whole new door. I have written half of the script for the sequel, and its body count is already past their first. So he's going to kill a lot of people in the opening scenes, like a lot. It picks up right where it left off, and
Okay.
then it does a time jump. But I do think we can get 3 out of it. So, and of course, I'd love to see it be a franchise. Who does? Anybody tells you they don't want their film to be a franchise is lying.
That's very true.
And I made a. I'll go back to the earliest part of our interview when I said up my face was painted up like Kiss. It was Gene Simmons. So hey, Gene Simmons, he will trademark and copyright and make a penny off of anything. So damn it, I'm doing the same thing. I sell merch. I go to conventions, like I'll be at a convention this weekend, and I sell Hogman stuff. I got posters and T-shirts and pins and mugs and koozies and all kinds of shit, and I sell them at every con I can go to around here. So
Oh yeah.
I'm merchandising the hell out of it. Which brings me to the next thing. I'm also working on my next film, which I'm trying to create another icon, and it is called Goldilocks.
Okay.
Yes. So Goldilocks is a serial killer, which is basically Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs and Michael Myers, but he's a human. Again, not supernatural.
Oh yeah.
And his thing is he was severely damaged by his blonde prostitute mother that beat him, and he was sexually assaulted by men because she was a prostitute, and finally, drug addict mother. She was blonde, very attractive. So he has a disdain for blonde women. So
Okay.
he's also heavily influenced by the serial killer BTK. And we're filming that now. We're actually doing a version of it. We had an original script for it that was a bit ambitious. I thought because of the success of Butcher's Bluff, I'd be able to raise a substantial amount more budget than I did before, and it just seems to not be the case. There's some people out there. Props to you guys. This is not a shot at anything. The guys on Indiegogo that are just masters at raising money. I'm
Oh
just
yeah.
like Jesus Christ, dude. How the hell do you do that?
Oh
that's
yeah.
that's amazing that every film they put out, up to then they're making at least $30,000 to $100,000. I'm like, wow,
Oh yeah.
props to you, dude. I wish I knew how you were doing it. Um, so I didn't have the success I'd hoped for in the raising funds. So I had to make a decision: either A, do I refund people's money, which was not really something I wanted to do? B, sit and wait and hope money falls into my lap, which it won't. Or C, make a movie with what I have. So, all right, I'm going to go back to my roots and I'm going to make a no budget film. I'm going to rewrite a script that has only, a handful of locations and, something that I can make cheaply. So I make it's all set during one night. It's Goldilocks on Halloween. And he's in his costume and he's walking around with trick-or-treaters and he kills people that are blondes at their houses, and there's a lot of stuff going on. We're doing high body count. um there's a little nudity in there for you. Definitely 80s, so I got pretty girls. I got one of your nominees, Miss Jessa Flux is one of our, excuse me, she likes to use Jupiter now. Jessa Jupiter. I forgot she has a middle name now. She's going to be out. She'll be here next week. We're filming with her for a week. I did a movie with her in Louisiana last year, and we had been Facebook friends for years, but never met her in person. We hit it off. We had a really good scene together. I wanted to work with her, and we had talked about, hey, we definitely got to work together. And when this thing came up, she hit me up and said she was interested. So I'm like, well, hell, you don't even have to audition. You're in. So, yeah. So I'm looking forward to, finally getting to direct her and have her be in one of my films.
Oh yeah.
So I have her out. So obviously, she's going to bring it. And I've got some really talented young actress here in Austin that's coming straight out of not film school but acting classes. She's never really done a feature film or anything really, just a little short film college school projects. But we filmed with her and she's really bringing it. And then we have our final main girl. Her name's Kayla Spargo, and she was a model back in the day and did a few things, but then kind of went off and lived life. And now she's just like, she hit me up one day and said, hey, I'd love to be in the movie. And I said, oh man, let's see what you can do. She sent me some stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I think you're right. And she's come and she's been killing it.
Oh yeah.
She takes all the bumps and doesn't want stunt doubles. She takes it. And so it's been great. I'm really happy with the cast that we have, the crew that I have. Or a lot of the Butcher's Bluff crew have come back. And then I got a few other people. I'm filming this one in San Antonio. I'm in Austin, and so it is kind of, like a fish out of water being in a new city. So I'm relying a lot on these guys. The crew that I have are all San Antonio locals.
Oh yeah.
So it's been something new to me to not be in control of everything, because I can't. I'm not physically there. So
Yeah.
I'm having to rely on my crew there to make sure everything's lined up. So when I get there, we can just start filming. So it's great. I mean, I'm really excited. I think Goldilocks is going to be another one that stands out because it's giving, like you said. I'm trying to give everybody what they want, and um, again, Art the Clown's the guy right now. So why is he the guy? And that's what we were asking. We always ask that at cons. Why do you like Art so much?
Oh
And
yeah.
they're like, oh, because he's creepy looking in the kills, and it's just okay. So that's what we got to do. Let's bring the creep factor and let's make sure we're upping our kills and let's not cut things off of the screen. Which I didn't want to cut anything off the screen on Butcher's Bluff, but I also was trying to deliberately not go over the top of the gore because again, it was my chainsaw barely showed any blood.
Yeah.
People think it's gory as hell, but it wasn't. And if you watch a lot of the Friday movies, especially the 1 through 4, they had good on-screen effects, but they were quick, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
And so that's what I was trying to do, and unfortunately, Tubi made it even quicker. But I don't mind doing an off-screen kill and seeing the blood splatter on the wall there. I mean, that's cool. Because I actually had that in the original cut for one of our kills, because that was my nod to Jason. They did that, but I wanted to make sure I showed practical effects, and that's why this one definitely going to be very cautious. Of my contracts say that it can't be edited, and if it has to be edited, it won't go up on a stream site. Like if I had it in my contract, they wouldn't have been allowed to put up an edited version of my film on Tubi or Amazon. I would just let them reject it.
Yeah.
And as an artist, I don't want my stuff cut.
All right.
But anyway, yeah, Goldilocks is it, man. I think we're going to touch on a lot of things that is what the audience is hungry for. Um, and it's giving all the beats are there. It's I'm taking into consideration. You said, you like the long movies. I am going to make this one shorter, just because a lot of people don't like the long movie,
That's
and
true.
and because of budgeting. So we're probably looking at a solid hour-and-a-half movie. No, all thriller, no filler. At least every 3 to 5 minutes, something is going to happen. You're either going to see boobs or a kill, or some type of creepy moment.
Oh yeah.
5 minutes or so. Not a lot of monologue, dialogue. It's very straightforward, and so
Oh,
it's different for me. I'm having a lot of fun doing it.
no, yeah. Uh, so we're kind of coming near the end of the show, but I do want to give you a moment to plug all your socials where people can reach out to you, see your movies, reach out to you if you want them to or not. That's entirely up to you.
I'm
See
gonna
your
let you do it,
films,
man.
and just any kind of anything you want to give to the audience. The
Okay,
floor is
well,
yours.
all right. Well, thank you for your time. And if you've watched this far and made it to me babbling like the guy that I am, I like to talk. Uh, then I
It's all good.
appreciate you hanging around and watching it to the end. Um, I'm easy to get in touch with. I'm mostly on Facebook because again, I've made it say several times in here. I'm on the older generation, so I don't do the newer shit. I am on Instagram, William R. INSTONE. I don't post a whole lot on there, but I do post on there. Mostly I'm on Facebook, William R. INSTONE. You can follow us at Butcher's Bluff, the like page, or the official Butcher's Bluff fan page. We also have the Goldilocks movie, which is a group, and we have Goldilocks Halloween Havoc, which is the one that we're working on now, the Halloween night uh, film that we just talked about. So those are places you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm pretty much at every convention in Texas. If you're in Texas, come by, look for Butcher's Bluff. I mean, all the major horror cons, I'm usually there. I usually have the table and I'm promoting the film. So you're an independent filmmaker, you want to contact me, you have questions, especially if you're in the beginning phases and you're wanting to get started. If I can help you, I will. I'm one of those guys that like to share the knowledge that I've obtained through trial and error. Um, I do have some filmmakers that don't like me because the fact that I have been verbal about my opinions on filmmaking. But I'm saying it from a place of honestly trying to help, not for being judgmental or I don't think I'm better than you or anything like that. I'm just trying to help you, man. Especially people in the beginning don't make the mistakes I made. I made so many mistakes. If I can help somebody not have to go down those same road, and make those same mistakes, then I don't know why someone wouldn't want to listen. But I mean, I guess who am I? I'm just a dude. I made a film, and that's that. I'm nobody special. So, um, but hey, thanks for listening, guys. I'll quit jabbering at that point.
I do want to touch on one thing before we go. So this is my first time making a movie, not there,
Nice.
and
Good title.
how, it,
Good title.
funny story how it came up. I'll tell you another time. Long story short, I was just like, the title's not there, and I was like, wait a minute, that is actually the title. That's how I came up with it. uh, we did it on a micro budget. I mean, a micro budget, and it was a 120-page script.
Jesus
And,
Christ. Okay.
but we filmed the entire thing in 8 days.
I saw that. That's impressive.
And it's people such as yourself and other independent directors and actors and stuff like that that drive me to want to continue doing this, because you guys give me inspiration, and just hearing your story, it enlightened me, and my life is enriched just by hearing your story. So I appreciate you, and I thank you. Yeah.
And that one of the things that got me in trouble was I did post on a filmmaker's page. So they made their movie in about 8 or 9 days, and I posted, "Wow, I wish I could do that." And I didn't say impressive, and they thought I was talking shit. And they
Oh,
took it. They didn't have the thin skin, and it was not talking shit. It was actually me being legitimately impressed that you're able to pull that off.
oh
Because I really wish I could. Because it would make my life so much easier.
yeah.
And not that it's easy. It's not easy making a movie. That's hard. You guys are putting 15, 20. I know what it takes to make a film. So I'm like, anybody who completes a film, Jesus, you got my respect. You
Oh,
got
yeah.
my, you're already head and shoulders above all the people who say, "Hey, I got an idea for a movie," or "Oh, I want to make a movie," but they didn't ever make it. You actually did it. And every filmmaker out there who went out and did it, you made the movie, you finished it. So who cares what anybody says? Other than that, you shouldn't get it. Who cares? It's their opinion. You finished the damn movie.
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, one of my crew members is over there. We're getting ready to watch Butcher's Bluff right after this interview.
Oh shit. Okay.
I
Thank
believe
you.
it's his first time seeing it. So,
Thank you. I appreciate
oh yeah. But no, it was an honor and a privilege getting to know you, and I want to thank you as a fan for giving me entertainment that sorely was needed in a moment in my life that I needed it. So, thank you.
and I thank you guys for recognizing my work and nominating me for awards. That means a lot. So
Oh yeah. Well, you get your movie's gonna be nominated quite a few more times.
okay.
All right. I want to thank you, William, for coming on. And as I tell everybody, once you've been on NC-17, you have a home with us, so you can come back on anytime, talk movies, promote your stuff, or even just to say, Josh, you got a booger in your nose. Yeah.
Sounds good, man. I'd definitely like to come back when we finish shooting Goldilocks and talk to you more about that.
Oh yeah, most definitely. All right, everybody, make sure you follow William on Facebook. Definitely check out his movie Butcher's Bluff. For NC-17, it is a 10 out of 10. For Josh, it is definitely still a 10 out of 10. And thank you for coming on. And you have a blessed one, everyone. Stay NC-17.